Hey, look, I want to thank you for joining episode 26 of Fresh Floppies.
A very special episode.
A very special episode. This is an after school special episode.
The master of deception woke the devil and then set him free.
What's up to all our sidekicks and hedgefolk out there in the mother-loving geek nation? You're currently tuning into Fresh Floppies, and Fresh Floppies is a show where we talk about the comics that come out today, new Comic Book Wednesday. A floppy is a single issue. You're all caught up. Welcome.
Spoilers?
I'm
No
Johnny
spoilers.
Destructo of Johnny Destructo's Hero Complex. It's a comic shop in Main Street, Manayunk, Philadelphia. Come visit me.
I am Noel of Noel's house.
Whose house?
Noel's house.
What do you want to start off with, floppy-wise?
I feel so. This is I gotta say, like I'm staring at my stack of comics and I've read all of them. This was like the heaviest week in a while for me. I've got like $100 worth of
Good.
single issues. It was just a lot of reading last night.
Yeah.
To make sure that we talk about the freshest floppies in the stack.
Freshest and the floppiest.
The floppiest freshies. Let's talk about Immortal Hulk. Let's talk about
Mortal Hulk?
the Immortal Thor.
There it is. That's the guy.
Which takes nomenclature. It's obviously a reference to Immortal Hulk.
Right, which was very popular and very, very good.
Same writer, Al Ewing. This one's got art by Martin Coccolo. Immortal Hulk was just racist Joe Bennett. But
Jeez.
it also takes the same structure as Immortal Hulk.
Oh yeah, tell me more.
I mean, every issue starts with some quote from some book you've never heard of or some pantheon, and it's very, very in the weeds in regards to stuff. It's structurally it's the same as like the narration is omniscient.
There you go. You got it.
Not omnipotent, omniscient. Some omniscient being that's kind of is more in the know than the reader or the characters.
Yeah.
Like this is all stuff that he did in Thor and in Hulk, and then it implies this will be the end at the end. So yeah, I think it's if they're gonna start immortaling
Everyone.
their main character, like I can't wait for Immortal Captain America or
Immortal Iceman,
Immortal Iron Man. But yeah, what did you think of this?
You know what? In the way, I would say it was the opposite of Immortal Hulk, because Immortal Hulk is a horror book straight through, and is very dour. Now, I don't know where this is going. It's obviously things are going to get heavier as it goes. But I was kind of delighted by how happy Thor is in the beginning of this book. Like, he's been through the ringer for the last couple of years from Donny Cates and Jason Aaron. And he's been doing a bunch of stuff. The weight of the hammer, the weight of being king, all that sort of stuff. And now he seems to be back in his sort of classic outfit. Mjolnir is currently back together, which I don't know how happened because I didn't finish the last Donny Cates run.
It wasn't even in the run. It was just like a backup.
No kidding.
Where he's just like, I'm gonna heal this, and held it up to the sky and forged it, reforged it in lightning. It was as comic booky as all holy hell. Where he's like, I feel renewed. I'm gonna wear my old outfit and maybe just kind of fix the hammer.
Was that at the end of Donny Cates' run?
It was a
like a
backup in the end of Donny Cates' run.
Interesting. And we've got the no longer the 3, but now they're the 4.
Yeah, Brunhild.
Yeah.
Brunhild is a member of the 4. So when I say it's like Hulk, obviously not tone.
Oh yeah.
The way it's structured is exactly like Immortal Hulk, and I assume he's going to kind of carry it through. But the first half of this issue I had trouble with.
I can see that.
It is so fucking dense.
Wordy. It's very wordy.
And it's so dense. It's like somebody speaking a different language to you. Mm-hmm. He goes on about specific names, specific like spells and curses and lands, and you're like, I read that whole word bubble. Mm-hmm. I don't know if I know what any of those are.
Right.
He maybe he was talking about this person gave me this weapon on this land, but you could move any of those nouns around, and I wouldn't know what the fuck he's talking about.
This land gave me this person
to fight this weapon.
Yeah.
So
It's true.
it's very in the weeds with like Thor speak, which is usually fine, but it's normally like in previous runs it's been tempered a little bit, or they like, I think even in Donny Cates' run they would give you little like information boxes about like what they're referring to, but this is like, you're in it or you're not. Let's go. So the first half, up until the point where he talks to a storm, is a little rough. But after that, it gets more playful. It gets a little more fun. We get bigender Loki, and he's fucking adorable, or they're fucking adorable.
They are, yeah.
And then there's a little secret, and then great things happen, but there's hidden underneath, and then the big bad is kind of revealed, and I'm like, I don't know what this is, but sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Like, I've never heard of. I mean, it would be a spoiler, but I've never heard of this. No. I have no idea where it's going.
I wonder, because on the front it's got Who Are the Gods, Gods, which is the new upcoming John Hickman thing. And this is a god. So I was like, oh, maybe this is going to be part of the Gods series.
I did not.
That's coming up.
They have had a Who Are the Gods backup page in every single comic. So no, I didn't think it was a connection to this.
Oh, I wasn't sure. Yeah, but it's more, on one hand I was like, okay, cool. On the other hand I was like, so is it just like a bigger god to fight a god? Yes.
Like it's like it feels like the same thing as like, well, he's got a bigger suit of armor to fight the armor. So like, knowing Al Ewing, I'm sure it's deeper than that, but at first it was like a reveal that I don't get. You know, like when they will do the person walks out of the shadow in the last page, and
you're like, I don't know who that is.
It's structured to be like
dun dun dun,
but it's really like,
it's more like dun dun dun.
Yeah, or like a horn, like a clown horn, like because you're like, okay. So like, Al Ewing is amazing.
Yeah.
His stories are always intricate but very rewarding. I feel like this will be the same thing, but as a first issue, I know, as a first issue, you kind of have to already be on board with Thor.
Yeah.
This is not a good entry point.
Right.
This is a good like starting point for an already fan.
Yes.
Yeah. Like, I would not give this to somebody. I've never read Thor. Where can I start? I don't think it would be this for me.
No,
I would give them something else, right?
And you know what's funny? I used to not read Thor growing up as a kid because I hated the Thor speak so much. But for some reason, I guess after Jason Aaron's run, being the first full run of Thor that I've ever read, and then the Donny Cates run, which I enjoyed up until Donny Cates left, I guess I'm now on board with Thor. And so the Thor speak in here, I kind of just settled into it, and I just read it kind of slowly and enjoyed it. And
I also am not sure who the narrator is.
Well, the narrator changes.
I was going to say, I thought it was Loki, and then it wasn't Loki anymore.
Yeah, there's an omniscient narrator, and then Loki, I think, is talking at some point, narrating. Or maybe he's not. What am I thinking?
I think it's Loki the whole time until... No, I think it's Loki the whole time.
Oh, yeah?
I think so. Yeah, it's... There is enough in here, and honestly, I loved Martin Coccoli's art.
Oh, I mostly did.
I loved it.
It's
His
definitely
face is...
doing a Olivier Coipel mimic a little bit, but it's pretty good. It's pretty good.
He did, I believe, the art for the Banner of War, the Hulk Thor crossover. And
that was fun.
That was big and fun.
Yeah.
So yeah, I like this colorful kind of approach because yes, Thor has been dour for about a decade.
Yeah.
Let's get light, but I also think at the same time there is nothing light about this book other than the presentation. It is dense, it is heavy, and they're talking about death.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So like tonally it's light, but contextually it's not light at all.
Is it like a Paramore's later offering?
Oh yeah, it sounds like
a pop song.
It's all pop music.
But
it's about depression and suicide, but it's so quotable. Yeah.
Yeah, I really like this. I thought this was pretty fresh.
I think it's pretty fresh too. Yeah, if you were already pulling Thor, just keep pulling this. Yeah. Speaking of narration that shifts, let's talk about Penguin #1, written by Tom King with art by Raphael De La Torre.
Yeah.
It's Raphael, right?
I did not finish Killing Time, Batman, Tom King's.
Well, that got spoiled for you.
Killing Time, but I didn't need to. I think if you haven't read Killing Time, that's okay. You don't have to worry about it. Everything that you need to know about Killing Time, I assume, was told to me here.
Yes, but I will say Killing Time is one of the best Batman minis in the last like 5-10 years.
Oh, I gotta finish it.
It's so tight and it's so fun.
Yeah. I remember liking what I read of it.
Yeah.
And now here we have the Penguin.
Yeah, a surprise sequel to Killing Time, but also standalone in and of itself. I loved this issue.
Yeah.
It didn't frustrate me, but it challenged me in like a really good way, because the narration, the text boxes change from scene to scene. Whose head you're inside of.
Yep.
And they don't announce it. They don't really even transition it well.
They just change the color box.
They just change the color box, and you have to figure out contextually who you're listening to. Yep. And it's never the Penguin. It's never Oswald. It's so Tom King is doing this thing. My favorite death in comics was Captain America, because I mean, I know it wasn't really a death, but they spent all this time during him off the board of defining Cap by the void he left and everyone trying to fill in. And he's using the narration to do something similar, where you're never inside Oswald's head. He's constantly being defined by all the people around him that love him, that hate him, that fear him, and that are perplexed by him. And it's creating this entity that's so fucking creepy and cool. This was great.
I also like this lean towards making the Penguin just absolutely horrifying to the DC universe. Like, everyone is terrified of this man. Even the bravado that the detective puts on she's shaking afterwards.
She's trying to convince herself otherwise too. The idea that like Batman can Who is this little idiot? Batman can save us from crisis after crisis, yet the Penguin constantly keeps rebuilding underneath his nose. Like, this doesn't make any sense. It's like she's trying to convince herself that he's not formidable. And that she can control him, which is interesting.
We know this is not going to go well, but...
And he's been... So, did you get a chance to read that Zero issue that came out last week?
No.
Basically, it's the only thing... Like, even more so than Killing Time, the first arc of Zdarsky's run, Batman is framed for killing the Penguin.
Yeah.
And everyone believes he's dead. He goes to a whole other city altogether, decides to be a gardener, lives his life in a flower shop, has a life, gets facial reconstructive surgery so he doesn't have a crazy schnoz.
Oh, is that why he looks a little... I was like, he doesn't have the nose I would expect.
Basically just like a kind old Italian man in Central Park kind of vibe. Meets a woman, starts living a life, and this seems to be a non-linear telling of him being pulled back in.
Yeah.
It's got major mob vibes. This was strong as shit.
It is really good.
This is technically an ongoing. I doubt it.
Whoa, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I'm assuming it's going to be like 8 to 12 because I can't see how this would be sustained forever. However, cool, whatever, man.
I'm in for the time being.
Yeah, I'm in.
Yeah. I will warn, just a lot of text boxes, a lot of not dialogue, not monologue, just voiceover. There's a lot of voiceover text boxes. Just be ready for it.
It's Tom King-y.
Yeah,
it's like Tom King doing David Mamet.
Mm-hmm. Highly recommend. Very good. Fresh AF.
It's very good.
Me.
Very good comic.
What's up next? Is it Jean Grey #1?
Let's talk about Jean Grey.
Let's do that.
Yeah.
So Jean Grey died during the...
What?
What's it called? The Hellfire Gala.
Hold on. She died?
She died. Again.
No.
Again.
Why would they
19th time.
Why would they keep doing this to her?
I don't know. They don't like her.
What did Jean Grey do?
Redheads.
Redhead
erasure.
This is what a ginger erasure.
So it turns out this is a what if book.
It's a sneaky what if book.
Oh,
it's a what if book that isn't a what if book.
I didn't care. I did not care for this. What did you think?
I didn't care, but it's well done.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine.
I think it's well done. I didn't care. Like they are literally doing a what if of a specific era of X-Men that I checked out on.
Uh-huh.
So like I was on board. So the basis of this is like they set it up as these are her dying thoughts. This is the moment when she's about to die because she died in Hellfire Gala, and they do a speed run of her origin.
Yeah.
Up to the point of when during Bendis's run, Hank brought them the young X-Men back to the future.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. I actually used that in context without thinking about it. Brought them back to the future to, kind of show them how things can go wrong and then sent them back. Well, he didn't send them back.
Cable did.
This was all the stuff that I checked out on.
Same.
Like, yeah. I don't care how they get back, whatever. Put the genie back in the bottle. So apparently in that version of the story, their minds were erased and they had to go through the same mistakes because blah, blah, blah. But in this version... I don't know the rules of this, Minnie. Mm-hmm. Is she imagining the things that could have gone wrong?
She's and this took me a minute to decipher as well, because I didn't realize, having not read what you were just talking about, where they go back to the past.
Mm-hmm. You didn't read the Bendis stuff?
Not the end of it. When it wasn't Bendis. Bendis left.
Oh, he left and I didn't finish.
It was like Hickman. Hickman left and they're still doing Krakoa. Bendis left and they just kept them in the present
for years.
And then eventually sent them back during a miniseries. I did not read that miniseries, and so I did not realize that half of this book didn't happen. I was just like, oh, this is interesting. They're just kind of showing us what happened when they went back. Wait a minute, this is getting weird. Oh, wait a minute, this is getting much darker. Oh, this is a what if. So this is her. This is her in her dying moments thinking about. She says, "This is my fault. What could I have done different?" And so she's going through the what ifs of her past, and that's what this is. And I closed the book, and I was so bummed.
And then it seems as though at the end of this issue, she kind of is like, "No, this didn't go right. I know exactly where it all went wrong. Let me go do that."
Something with a plane.
Or a shuttle.
Shuttle, yeah.
So I guess to me that means each issue is going to be a different Jean Grey what if.
That's what I'm gathering.
Look, I think this is it's Louis Simonson and Bernard Chang.
Yeah.
I think it's well done. I actually really like the art. I like Bernard Chang. I have no issues with him.
I wasn't tickled by the art.
I think it's fine.
It's fine. It's gets you through it.
And for something that I do not care about, I read it very quickly and it went down well.
Huh.
I don't care though, and I'm not going to keep reading.
Oh, yeah, I did not enjoy it. I was a little annoyed by it.
If you were a Jean Grey fan though.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, this is
you might
yeah.
It's fine.
Well, like people that I know there's people online that are
what ifs.
People online that are incredibly excited about like, oh, Jean Grey is getting her own mini and Louis Simonson's coming back and oh my god.
I want to see what they say after today.
None of those things I mean, I love Louis Simonson, but none of those things actually like are hella appealing to me. And so much as like I got to try this new thing. But if you're in the bag for any one of those,
sure, give it a go.
Yeah, this is solid. It's fresh enough for me.
Barely fresh for me.
Right on.
Yeah.
Why do you hate fun?
Because it sucks.
Speaking of hating fun, I want to talk really quickly about Big Game.
Okay.
Mark Miller and Pepe Larraz.
I'll allow it.
This is issue 2 of 5. Issue 1, for those who aren't up to date, Nemesis led into a...
Nemesis Reloaded.
I guess, is it spoilers? Can we talk about it? It's like 3 months ago.
Nah, go for it.
Okay. Yeah. Nemesis Reloaded turned into a secret semi-sequel to Wanted.
Yeah.
And in the world that they inhabit now, if those of you who never read Wanted... an organization of supervillains called the Fraternity got together in 1986. They finally joined forces, got rid of all the superheroes in the world, murdered them, killed them, and then wiped the world's mind. They never knew they existed. All of the media we have now about superheroes and stuff is latent memories.
Yes.
So it's a cool idea.
I love that.
Nemesis Reloaded ended up being a secret sequel to that, where the Fraternity approaches him at the end and is like, hey, things are starting to bleed through. We need to, and like other superheroes are showing up again. Yeah. We need to prune these hedges.
Yeah.
Let's pull these weeds.
I love this idea. And it brings together All of Mark Miller's
almost all of them,
Miller
like
World
even the ones
titles?
that you don't think should be included are kind of included in there, like American Jesus / The Chosen One / Chosen.
Oh, is he in there? I haven't finished issue 2 yet.
There's a character with a bag and it says "Vote Jody," which is his name because he's running for president in like the 2nd or 3rd volume or something like that. Yeah, it's
neat.
Yeah.
Ah.
So like they kind of tie all that in. But so this issue is a classic second issue. Hype it up to the second, like essentially bang out the first act.
Yeah.
Like the first act was introduced, and this is the end of the first act, where a bunch of crazy shit happens, and you're like, what's gonna happen now?
Yeah.
It's just that in the process of that, Mark Miller, I think, goes a little too far, in so much as negates all of the miniseries that I read. Like, he willfully takes things off the board in such an unceremonious way that on one hand I'm like, cool. On the other hand I'm like, why the fuck did I read 3 volumes of that? Because these characters don't matter.
Well, that's how time works.
Yeah. Yeah. But it happens so... It happens without gravitas in so much as, like, the sum total of the violence is the point, but it happens so flippantly that there's no emotional stakes. It's just violence. It's just escalation.
Okay.
So it left me a little empty. On one hand, I turned the page. I was like, "Fuck!"
Yeah.
But at the end of the issue, I was like,
"Oh,
no, I wasn't sad.
No, oh."
I was like, "Wait, why?" Like it leaves you kind of narratively empty because there doesn't seem to be a purpose other than to shock. And as soon as the shock subsides,
I have
why?
theories, but I don't want to spoil anything.
Oh, things that you know or things that are
theories.
All right,
from reading the first half of the book.
Oh, I guess so. Maybe
there are things that I'm curious about. I don't know if all of these characters taken off the board will still be off the board at the end.
Well, there's a lot more characters that are taken off the board in the second half of the issue.
That's what makes me think this is a big shock issue, and I think a lot of this might be undone. Because he's getting rid of his entire oeuvre. Basically,
right? Yeah. And it's interesting.
Yeah.
So like we said this the first issue. There are 2 Mark Millers. There's the good wolf and the bad wolf.
Yeah.
Which one you feed is depending on the story you're getting. Yeah. He's feeding the bad wolf with this, and he's like leaning on a lot of his worst habits of like edginess and look how fucking cool I am.
Right.
When it's really like, no, that's what you do terribly. Like
do the other stuff.
Yeah,
we like that
so
stuff.
It's teetering.
I'm curious though. I'm enjoying it. I'm curious to finish this issue.
I'm enjoying the ride.
Yeah.
But I'm starting to feel skeptical about the destination.
Understood.
Yeah. We'll do Spider
Man. Amazing. Number 32.
Yeah. So you have left Twitter for the most part.
Yep. It's a cesspool.
I'm almost there. I'm almost there because today's Wednesday. Yesterday was Tuesday. These books hadn't come out yet.
And I'm gonna guess, were they spoiled?
They were spoiled.
Of course they were.
People were taking pictures of scenes in this book out of context and like weren't even trying to blur or hide them and just like, what the fuck are they doing with my Spider-Man?
Yep. They've been doing it for
Justify
years.
this. Yep. And I'm like, hide it. There's a button.
It's very easy.
Wait 6 hours.
Yep.
With your shitty hot takes.
Train. Everyone's on the outrage train immediately.
So people were sharing the last the last page in this,
which, to be fair, is not a surprise if you've seen any of the upcoming covers of the book that's coming up.
Wait, what?
I didn't. Talking about this?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I didn't. I was surprised by this.
Yeah, were you?
Well, first of all,
I love it.
I think this is an amazing one-page splash. Like
that's some good Gleason.
This is Gleason firing on cylinders that didn't exist.
Yeah.
This is fucking awesome.
I just noticed the face in the background.
Yes, dude. Yes.
I thought that was all just like smoke. Nope. Oh, it's a face. I love it.
This is I would not be shocked if this one-page splash took him longer than the rest of the book.
Some of the other book, yeah.
It is beautiful.
It's hard to talk about this without spoiling it, but what did you think of the events of this book?
I loved it. I loved
Yeah.
it. I loved 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 it. So, there are two things that people spoiled online after I read the book, but I read it early, so it doesn't count. It's this scene, Norman and Parker, and this one, and the end.
There are people who are upset that Norman Osborn is a good guy right now, and I'm really enjoying the ride of it. And they don't believe that Peter Parker would ever, treat him but that's not the Peter Parker that I'm aware of. This feels very much like Peter. He was very skeptical. He didn't believe it. He refused to believe it.
He babysits him.
And then even now he babysits him.
Yeah.
But he's still kind of like on the tip of like, he seems like he's doing good.
And I think people don't understand.
He wants to see the best in people.
This has been months of them in close proximity for 10, 12 hours a day. And he is starting to, with spending all this time with him, he's starting to finally let himself start to maybe believe that this is the new going forward with Norman. And that's a normal human reaction. Like, I don't understand why people are so upset with this. Also, too, they broke up my girl.
I was bummed about that last issue. I love him and Black Cat together.
And kind of introduced the new lawyer thing, which we both called. But I'm starting to think that the point of this run, at least for now, do you remember the 5th season of Angel?
The one with Spike swapped,
where they were in the law firm, and Spike. They introduced Spike into the show.
Sure.
3 episodes into that season, they got rid of his love interest because the writers realized that we don't really need a love interest; we need a foil, and Spike is that foil. So I'm starting to kind of read this as this is a Norman and Peter story, and there's no real room for a love interest right now.
Interesting.
They're foils for each other. Like it's not romantic. It's aromantic. It's this kind of like hope for redemption that one possesses, and the hope for him to achieve it from the other party, regardless of his sins, right? Because I guess technically he took his sins away. It's like larger thematic, and I do think that the majority of this run has been, the important part has been Norman and Peter.
Yeah.
And Zeb Wells has done a lot of work, elegantly or inelegantly, to remove some of those other things temporarily so he could focus on the dichotomy between Norman and Peter, somebody who was raised with this unmovable moral compass, and somebody who was forced upon an unmovable moral compass, right? And the kind of relationship between the two things, and I think that that's fascinating, and I think that that's cool, but people can't get over the fact that, like, but 60 years ago in the comics he murdered that girl. Yeah. I mean, I get it. Yeah. And he gets it. The fictional character gets it. Yeah. It's bothering me.
And it's not like it's easy for Peter. It's not like Peter's just having a heck of a good time.
They're not drinking beers around the corner and high-fiving. This is like it is hard.
It's a struggle.
Yeah. But I love the this was such a good idea. Yeah. I'm flipping through pages just being like in awe. I love this book.
Yeah, me too. It's fun.
I love this book, and I'm not mad at the people who are coming at it with bad faith or not enjoying it. I actually feel sad that they're not going along for the ride and having as much fun as I am.
Yeah, they're missing out. Yeah.
It is.
You guys can be miserable if you want. That's cool.
It's very, it's the best artists that are working in Marvel right now are hitting this book, and it's awesome.
Oh, no. I didn't realize. You said that there is a page at the end of every issue that has to do with gods. Yeah. I did not see the one that deals with this one.
Yeah, I don't think it's connected to any current ongoing. It's literally just been at the end of every book.
Interesting. Yeah, I had a guy message me who will go nameless, and he was just like, he sent me a message, and he was like, what is it about Amazing Spider-Man that you really like? You seem to really like it. And I was like, well, we do it. We talk about it on the show every time an issue drops. He's like, oh yeah, I listened. Explain it to me again. And he just didn't get it. I'm like, were we not clear?
I was talking to the same guy. Yeah. I literally gave a laundry list of all the things that I'm enjoying.
Yeah, so did I.
And then it was like, would you be enjoying it as much if other people weren't hating it?
He asked me the same
And
question,
I
and I took mild offense to that.
I was
like, what a weird question to ask somebody. Like, I'm only enjoying this book to be a contrarian? What? Why would I? No.
That's, one,
if I don't like something, I don't like it.
I'm not 12, and I don't spend my money that way.
Yeah, why would I?
Like,
yeah, that's true.
If I don't, I drop shit on a dime.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care. This is the longest I've stuck with Spider-Man. And you know what? Maybe that's my problem. Maybe this is the worst run ever, but it's clicking with me because I can't stay on other versions of the character. Okay, maybe everyone's right. Still love it.
Yeah.
And I'm still enjoying the shit out of it.
I've been reading Spider-Man since I was like 8 years old. It's not that. I also love this book, and I don't understand. It feels like there are just people who have to jump on the outrage train as quickly and as hard as possible to get engagement, to get clicks. That's why I left Twitter. I was tired of having things that I was excited about ruined for me. Literally just posted spoilers of a photograph before it's not even like it was text that I had to read. It's like, oh, here's an image. And I'm like, you jerks. And they're like, oh, it's so bad it deserves to be spoiled.
No.
That's not your decision to make, man.
Not at all.
Yeah.
No.
Anyway,
which is why we try and keep this story. We try and keep this podcast spoiler free.
Yeah.
Speaking of spoilers, though, Night Terrors ended this week, but it didn't end. So there's your spoiler.
Oh, wait, what?
There's an issue next week called Night Terrors, Night's End, #1.
Yeah. Okay.
Which is actually.
Because there was a 0 issue that was actually #1.
Yeah. First. Yeah. So that's the numbering. A Night Terrors. First Blood.
First Blood, #1.
Night Terrors 1 through 4.
Yeah.
Night Terrors, Night's End, #1.
I hate that so much. Just make it a 5-issue series, you jerks.
This is my quick review of this is it's fresh enough. This is as good as every other Joshua Williamson event. It's solid, but wildly forgettable.
Okay.
Yeah. I think Dark Crisis was solid. Checked all the boxes.
Yeah.
Was cool here, cool there. The art was solid. Everything was solid.
Yeah.
But I forgot it as soon as I finished reading it.
Yeah.
It had no real impact.
Yep.
That's the same thing with this.
It made me actually go, not only did I forget about it, but I was also like, why? Why did I read all that? Yeah. Same thing.
Yeah, I'm pointing at the book. So far, it's the same thing.
I was way more into Dark Crisis than I am this.
That's fair. That's super fair because that actually seemed like it had stakes or something was going to come of it. This reads more like a fifth week event.
It's exactly what I was going to say.
It's a 5th week event.
Yeah.
It's like hey, we have a block in the schedule. Can somebody put together a 5-issue weekly series real quick? Yeah, great, cool.
I have Joshua Williamson. I have some time after my coffee, but before my morning poop. I'll write it out now.
Yeah, basically. Basically. Oh, we're gonna put 17 artists on it so we can get it out on time. Sounds lovely. I love it.
Jesus. What a shit.
It is a very solid product. It's just it's immemorable. It's a bucket of fine.
You know what? The other strange thing is, unless there must be something else coming, but why would this not be in October? This a horror book.
Probably because they want it collected by October.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah.
There's a lot of cool horror stuff in this.
It is. Well, I mean, it's all
series,
horror. Yeah. I think this is going to be one of those things that somebody will just read and trade later on and be like, oh, that was pretty good.
Yeah.
And then put it away.
Yeah.
But anyway, you got to go open the shop. I got to get back to work. This has been delightful. Tell us where we can find you later on.
You can find me at 8 o'clock with the rest of the fellas tonight live on YouTube,
Twitch,
Facebook Live, where we're going to be talking about Ahsoka, the series that dropped yesterday, as well as the Blue Beetle film.
That's right.
Yeah.
We're going to review and spread our hot takes all over the table.
Gross. Email us at cultpopgo@gmail.com before tonight if you have any questions, and we'll address them on air. Love you. We'll talk at you later.
Do. Bye.
I can't help but stay away when you're so damn evil. I don't care at all, assuming that it's Mother Nature's fault. It's funny how a part of me ceases to be. I waited all summer just to see.
Thank you for listening to the CultPop Network, home to podcasts, live shows, and a whole lot of fun stuff for every flavor of fan. Follow us wherever you find your favorite podcast, and be sure to join us live every Wednesday night at youtube.com/CultPopGo at 8 p.m. Eastern. While you're there, be sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon so you'll know when we drop new Thunder Rounds and episodes of Fresh Floppies, a spoiler-free show about single-issue comics released each week. Until then, we'll talk at you later.